Have you ever had a crazy thought of maybe conquering the world? Well, this guy decided to go even further and aim for the universe. Hey guys, my name is Leia and welcome to Anime Recap Pro. Today we will check out the 2021 hit series Combatants Will Be Dispatched. But before we get started, please like, share, and subscribe. We really appreciate your support. And with that, let's get started. The evil Kisaragi Corporation's supreme leaders dispatch combat agent 6 to another planet after nearly completing their conquest of Earth to see whether they can create a base there and continue the conquest of another globe. If not, they forewarn, 6 will be fired when they have finished conquering Earth. 6 grudgingly accepts the position and is paired with Alice, a young battle droid. The two are then sent to a planet with an environment similar to Earth, where 6 is eager to set up a teleporter right away and return home. But Alice cautions him that he'll need a lot more evil points to build a base before he can set up anything. The two escape a monster onslaught and make it inside the Kingdom of Grace, where Snow, the commander of the Royal Guard, is in charge. 6 and Alice see that there appears to be recognizable technology everywhere they go as they explore the kingdom, including a rusting combat tank. They are introduced to a sizable object that may summon rain by the snow. This device is recognized by Alice, who starts to repair it, but 6 inputs Dick Festival when the device requests a new password to gain evil points by seeing the royal family embarrassed after using the term in public. They are all caught in the act by Princess Tillis, who uses the opportunity to make 6 and Alice serve as the kingdom's knights under her command. Snow, who had been acting as 6's executive officer, is demoted after promising to accept responsibility for their conduct. Alice chooses to include 2 peculiar young women in Group 6 battle against the demons as the majority of physically fit warriors on the front lines, a chimera named Rose and a wheelchair-bound archpriest of Xanareth named Grim. The following day, as 6's company watches the Grace army prepare to engage in combat with a demon army camp, Snow counters that there is a little glory to be gained by attacking the supply lines of the demon army instead. 6 finds himself fighting with Hein of Flame, one of the demon lord's elite 4, shortly after driving the orcs off of supply lines. 6 attempts to avoid getting burned by Hein since the other members of his party are either unable or unwilling to assist. Gandalkund of the Ground, another member of the Elite Four, suddenly flies in and crushes Grim's head with an enormous club. Gandalkund is engaged in combat with 6's gang until the Demon Lord commands him to flee. 6 is devastated by Grim's passing until Snow explains that he can be raised from the dead at a local chapel. After bragging about his recent achievements, 6 teams up with Alice to induct Rose into Kisaragi by forcing her to eat a grasshopper, despite the fact that she abhors bugs. The Chosen One, Till's brother, had been hurt by 2 strong demons while attacking Duster Tower, a mostly hollow structure with a long spiral staircase that contains a treasure necessary to conquering the Demon King. With barely any time to recuperate, 6 is summoned to handle the issue. 6 and his troops merely wait for nightfall before utilizing a pneumatic pistol to make handholds for them to climb up the tower wall after their initial plan is followed, and the king's men decide to undertake a frontal attack on the tower. After climbing to the top, 6 kicks one of the demons off of a ledge and rocks several boulders at the other to knock him out. When the first one comes back up the stairs, number 6 makes a deal with the second demon to exchange his life for the tower and in loot exchange for evil points. 6 and Alice are each given a sizable sack of gold back at the castle as compensation for their services, despite their despicable deeds. The chief strategist of the kingdom encourages the general to use 6's troops to launch a frontal assault against a demon army force led by Hein. But 6 believes the strategist is merely attempting to get rid of him after severely deriding him to the point where he cried. Shortly after the kingdom's forces arrive at the battleground, they discover a magical rock golem approaching them. 6's unit decides to attack everyone else but the golem, while Alice goes to get C4 from Kisaragi, leaving 6 himself to combat the golem. Just as the C4 arrives, 6 manages to activate his suit's limiters and destroy the golem, but is left helpless for 3 minutes as Hein attempts to kill him. Grim finally awakens and curses Hein with paralysis. Snow cuts away a magic stone that Hein used to augment her abilities as she confronts Hein as escapes the curse. To win several evil points, 6 takes advantage of the situation by humiliating Hein in front of both remaining armies. During that evening, the strategist tries to buy Snow's cooperation to show that 6 is an international spy. Snow had intended to keep the money and support 6 when he overheard him discussing being a Kisaragi spy with Alice. Taurus. Once Six and Alice leave the kingdom, Snow and Rose Grimm are promoted back to their previous position in the Royal Guard. After settling into their new home, Six and Alice start setting up a teleporter, but Alice warns that the Demon Lord's army will attack before that because it will take at least a month to stabilize the connection between the two realms. He becomes notorious as Six chooses to flash random women throughout the kingdom to gain some evil points. Everybody dubs him Zipperman. Six buys landmines and places them along paths leading to the castle using his newly acquired evil points. Returning home, they learn that the Chosen One and the Elite Four he was battling vanished, as Tillis herself showed, and implores them to stay behind for decisive battle against the Demon Lord's army. Six and Alice are about to flee to another nation because of the concern that they unintentionally destroyed the prophecy. The army of the Demon Lord advances on the kingdom the following day, commanded by Hein and Gondelkond, and Six and Alice remain by Tillis' side. The landmines, however, cause both several golems and Hein herself to be held up. Hein demands to meet Six, but the Demon Lord's army nonetheless invades Grace capital with a number of warriors and golems. While Snow rushes in to meet with Six and Alice, who are trying to flee with Tillis, Rose, and Grimm, use their talents to buy some time. After hearing Snow's passionate plea, Six resolves to stay and fend off the attackers, but after realizing he's short on evil points, he pulls down Snow's underwear in front of Tillis, Alice, and himself. He then purchases a huge anti-material gun with the points he has amassed and uses it to shoot down the golems. Except for a terrified Hein, who he offers a 1-month truce, Six uses the might of his suit along with a summoned chainsaw blade to rip through every adversary in the room as Hein, Gondelkond, and a small group of flyers get closer. Six and Alice decide to stay in this world a little longer as Hein and the remaining Demon Lord's army members depart. When they are occupied with their takeover of Earth, Kisaragi sends a mutant named Tiger Man to aid Six. Snow receives his own sword from Tiger Man after Six breaks hers during a duel. Later, Alice, along with Six and Snow, travels to a neighboring forest to record various species of creatures and learn more about the world's biodiversity. Six bonds with Blue, waking crustacean known as Momoke, while fleeing predators, but Snow slices it in two and distributes the flesh with the other customers at the bar. Alice doubts the magical ability she's witnessed while on the assignment, believing that there are consequences of psychic trickery, fraud, or any other scientific explanations during supper. The following night, out of anger, Grimm calls a demon to life in front of Six and Alice to demonstrate the reality of magic, but Alice doesn't believe it when the demon turns her astounding requests before dissipating. A few days later, Tillis tells Six and Alice that Taurus and the demon army have allied and intended to assault Grace, and that Grace won't live for very long without water. Tillis guides Alice to several old temples and tells her that some powerful demons are looking for old weapons to kill the Sand King. Alice decides to go rob them of it. To locate the secret weapon concealed in prehistoric ruins, Six's squad drives back into Taurus land while Tiger Man and Grace's army defend against the impending invasion. They come across a camp that Hein and Russell had put up as night falls. Six decides to wait until the demons enter the ruins and fight through the traps themselves, then steal the weapon after they do all of the work. As they enter the ruins, Six and Alice comment on how surprisingly high-tech they find it to be, while Rose recognizes some of the surroundings. Six knocks Russell unconscious from behind with a low blow as Russell and Hein approach the weapon. Still, he uses too much power and it almost kills him. Alice revives Russell and Six forces him to unleash the weapon, which is a massive mech. Russell, though, turns on the mech and positions himself in the cockpit. Hein teleports away from the situation so she can't be seen as a captive, though Six snatches her bra at the last second. Outside, Six's troop tries to flee, but Russell pursues them in the mech. As Alice opens up Six's evil points account, he can enter in negative balance to combat the mech. Six rushes outside and spends hours fighting Russell with various weapons called from Earth because Alice needs a lot more time to construct her own secret weapon to counter the mech. As Russell catches Six at last, Alice shows up in the Destroyer, her own enormous mech. Alice reveals to Six 3 days later that she destroyed the enemy mech as Rose and Snow imprisoned Russell. Tiger Man assisted the Grace army in repelling the invading assault by forcing a lusty Tiger Man on Russell. Six and Alice pressure him into using his powers to provide water to the Kingdom of Grace. Later, Six and Alice place socks on their feet to test Grimm's curse that she is unable to wear shoes as Tillis tries to negotiate a peace agreement between Grace and Taurus. A short while after, she commits suicide. Hein makes a promise to exact revenge on their fallen allies. Back on Earth, the Chosen One and Fustress of the Wind argue in Kisaragi's office before being reprimanded by Belial. That evening, Six shares his desire to rule over all of the world waltz with Alice and eventually obtain a harem. Well, that's it for today. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe.